Welcome back. I promised I would do another one of these, and it took me a little while, and I'm back. I did warn you in the last video that it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month, 2 months. I don't know. I will do these when I get up the gumption to do them. So today's chore is sorting laundry. I got, we bring the laundry up, I pile it on the long part of the couch, and then I start sorting it. And then the kids put their own laundry away, they fold it if they want, it's actually a knee shirt. Beth got me a Darkwing Duck shirt. I love it. But then the kids take care of it themselves. So if they want to fold it, they can fold it. If they want to hang it, they can hang it. Oh, you're going to hear a lot of background noise. I'll try to cut out the background noise as much as I can. But I've got terrariums in this room. I've got children in other rooms. I've got a child making food in the kitchen right now.
Hi!
I am a dad with 4 kids and a spouse and a brother that's a roommate. There's always people. There's always noise. And I probably will never have another one of these videos again unless I'm home alone like the last one, where it's quiet. And that's okay. Usually. That's okay for the videos. It's not always okay for me. I think I've decided. So the first episode I titled Mental Health, right? And I've been making the Birchlight TikTok/podcasts, and I'm going through a book and making TikTok/podcast about a book called Unmasking Autism. And so mental health seems to really resonate with people a lot. And I feel like, I've always felt like, I have a voice, I should use it. And there's a lot of unjust things in this world. There's a lot of things that are a miscarriage of justice. There's only so much that I, as a cis white male, can talk about without looking like I'm stealing the voice of the actual people who are having the problem. Like, I could talk all day about women's rights, right? And how women should have full body autonomy, and there's not enough female representation in the government. And even the female representation that we have, a lot of them are incredibly out of touch or so severely conservative they're out of touch and things like that. I could talk about that all day. But I'm not female. I'm not trans. I have nothing to do with that conversation other than to say, it's not my place. You make your decisions. I could talk all day about Black Lives Matter. Oh, I could talk all day about that. The stuff that I have learned, the more that I have read, the amount of pain and sadness I feel for the Black community. And not just the Black community, but like the indigenous communities and all the different minority communities and all of that, and how we just pinhole them into certain view. See, I could go on. Oh, I could go on. But it's not my place. It's not my place. So what can I talk about? What can I use my voice to talk about? I can use my voice to talk about things that actually affect me, that affect millions of people, possibly billions, hundreds of millions, billions of people around the world, that I can actually use my voice and speak up about. And that is mental health. That is trying to destroy the stigmas surrounding mental health issues and developmental issues. Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in these videos while I'm doing this, is the stuff that I've learned, the stuff that affects me, how it affects me, how people could help me in those situations, how it affects possibly other people, and how to try to be there for other people in those type of situations. I don't specifically know if I'm going to have a specific theme or anything each week. I want to do these every week. but most likely it'll be like it is, and it's like once a month I remember to sit down and record and chat. So, God, that timer is annoying. All right, so I will talk about the things I know. I will talk about the things I've seen, my personal experiences, talk about, the book I'm listening to, articles I've read, conversations with other people. I have a couple people that might come hang out and talk with me about their mental health and, watch me do chores. Because that really is going to be the main thing for all these videos is me doing chores because I still have to get the things done. So why not merge two things together, right? I get bored doing chores, so I stop doing chores, especially like sorting, laundry, things like that, doing the dishes. I get bored, so then I try to listen to music or I try to watch something, and then I'm either singing and dancing too much or I am completely spaced out into whatever I'm watching, and it doesn't work out. So I thought I would just merge these together, and I will talk about mental health while you watch me sort clothes. Multitasking! That, and it's not just me sitting in one spot talking, because that's just obnoxious. That's more like I'm giving a lecture, and I don't want to give a lecture. You need to see me doing something. There needs to be some sort of movement, some sort of action. Oh, my AMC shirt. God, that was one of my favorite jobs ever, especially for a neurodivergent person. There was so much stimulus, and I worked in the projection booth back when it was still all film projectors. So I was running to one theater. So you run upstairs, you run down the hall, you thread it up, you get it going, you make sure it's running, you mark it off your list, and then you run to the next one and you thread it up and you do that and you mark it off your list, and then you run to another one and you finish that and you get it set up for the next show, and then you run to the next one and you start that, and then you get these breaks where you just get to sit up there and watch chunks of movies. It is just, it was the best neurodivergent stimulus job I have ever had. And then everything went to digital. Nothing is film anymore, which I am annoyed at, and also 100% fully support. I mean, petroleum products, we need to do away with as many petroleum products as we can. And film is made from petroleum byproduct, at least part of it is. So, anyways, I loved that job. And that's the big thing for me is the stimulus, right? I'm always twitching my fingers. My toes are like always moving. I grind my teeth. I used to chew on my lips. I never really was much of one for sucking on my own thumb. The wetness irritated me, so I would always be chewing on something. I mean, I had a pacifier. I think my mom said I was like 4 or 5 before she finally got me to stop with pacifiers. And it wasn't like she could just throw them away because I had 4 younger siblings. Me and the youngest are 6 years apart. So, but there was still a baby using a pacifier when I was 5, 6 years old. So I would just steal it and chew on it and play with it. And it was soothing to me. It was calming to me. And stimulus is something that a lot of neurodivergent people need constantly. And is also something that annoys non-neurodivergent people all the time. So our need for stimulus, those of us that are neurodivergent, bothers people a lot. It is, our brains are wired differently. Okay, so research was done, and they look at the way that babies' minds work versus adults. And babies have way more open communication pathways in their brains than adults do. Basically, we are born and all of our brain is communicating with itself at the same time. Just constant communication. It's why everything is so amazing to a baby, right? Because every part of their brain is getting that input. Now, a lot of times it's overwhelming, which is why a lot of crying babies. Why babies get grumpy and things like that. When, sometimes you don't understand why they started crying, and it's just that neural overload. So, the human body goes through and goes, all right, now when these 3 pathways connect together, it's too much. So let's remove this pathway and see what happens. Nope, that fixes it. It's not too much anymore. Okay, we're going to leave these 2 pathways and get rid of that pathway. Or we're going to add that pathway back and try this pathway. Oh, there we go. And they leave that pathway out. And then over time, our brain learns to adjust to things so that way when a light is too bright, our brain is automatically able to go, okay, so we need to turn a little bit. We need to put this, the light over to the side so it's not hitting us directly in the eyeballs. Or put on sunglasses, and we've dealt with it. It's done, no problem. The autistic brain, the neurodivergent brain, doesn't always work that way. And so what happens is a lot of times our pathways stay open. We seem to have a hard time getting rid of some of those pathways and narrowing things down. So if something is overstimulus, sometimes our brain will just remove all three of the pathways and go, oh, that fixed the problem. We're done. So now I have a whole part of me that doesn't compute the same way that everybody else's does. Everybody has, for a 3-pathway part, everybody ends up with 2 pathways. My brain just went ahead and shut off all 3 pathways to save the day. Or you'll have it where their brain doesn't quite understand what's going on and it can't make up its mind. So sometimes all 3 pathways are still going, sometimes only 2 pathways, sometimes only 1, sometimes none. And it's not something that the person themselves can control. So a lot of neurodivergent people have specific pathways that their brain likes the most. And those pathways make us feel comfortable and safe and like we're going to be okay. So we have a tendency to go back to those pathways over and over and over again because we know that it is safe there. And a lot of times that safe pathway is a stimulus. So for me, a safe pathway would be specific types of music, or specific feelings I get watching certain types of movies and shows. And then on the flip side of that, for me, there are certain types of music I cannot listen to. I just can't. It doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter how well done it is. It doesn't even matter if it's only one song. There are some types of music I just cannot listen to. It is too much for my brain. My brain doesn't know what to do, so it just says, nope, you can't deal with that, and I have to walk away. There are certain types of movies and things that I can't deal with because my brain, a pathway that my brain created is, I was a very awkward kid. I got embarrassed a lot. I also, growing up, had a hard time sympathizing with other people. So in my attempt to fix those in my head growing up, I learned to attach my own feelings to that other person. I taught myself how would I react? How would I feel in that situation? And then I would react to the person based off of that information. That was how I learned how to have sympathy and empathy. I have very little actual sympathy for people. I am almost pure empathy, and that's by personal design. So somebody's hurt, somebody, you're watching the news and you see somebody got in a car accident. And most people go, oh, that's sad. I feel bad for them. But my brain goes immediately to the memory of every car accident I've ever had, sorts through all of them, finds the one that most relates to the accident I'm seeing on the screen, and tells me that that is how close to how that person must be feeling, and now I'm sad. I'm not sad on their behalf. I'm not sad for them. I'm sad on their behalf.